putting an end to identity politics. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Well, again, I don't know what meetings Mr. Porter was in, which ones he
No, but you know what he did. He presented information to the president on a regular basis that was often classified. He was very high up there.
But Chris, to compare it to the FBI doing what they did, taking a campaign document, dressing it all up as legitimate intelligence and presenting it to a FISA court, a secret court, to get a secret
You don't know
warrant
that that's what happened?
We do know that's
You don't know that's what happened?
To compare it to that, I think is not an apt comparison.
All right, fine. So let's go with your own comparison. Let's jump to that. You do not know what happened in that FISA application. You guys keep calling it a secret court, which is not fair to the American people. The FISA court was created as an oversight mechanism by Congress.
Chris,
it's not a secret court, and you haven't even seen the application.
Chris, have you ever read a transcript from the FISA court? Have you ever seen an application taken to the FISA court? We haven't. I haven't. But that's why
I don't have an opinion about them. I don't judge them when I haven't seen them.
Well, but we know people who have seen the application and what they've told us was in that application.
And Trey Gowdy, since then, who will now be on the show today, he wants to resign. He wants to get away from this mess, and he says it doesn't change the Russia probe.
Well, it does change the fact that we now know that they took a campaign document to a court to get a secret warrant to spy on a fellow citizen. That is a fact.
It was part of an application.
That's why I've called on Christopher Wray to let us see the application. I called on him 2 months ago. Show us the application. Show us the transcript. I'm for making everything transparent, including the Democrat memo, frankly, when it's done in a way that's consistent with our sources and methods and not jeopardizing
that's a big
the
if,
lives
though,
of
right?
people
But that gives you
intelligence community. I'm for
but that's a hedge
everything
because
being
you didn't.
transparent.
Hold on a second.
Welcome back, everybody. How's that for an interview? Chris Cuomo interviewing, finger quotes, Jim Jordan. Won't let him get a word in edgewise. Defending the FBI's behavior. That's essentially what CNN is doing. They're saying, all these things that you're seeing, all these things you're talking about, you don't know that this didn't happen and all that. This is the FBI. They did their job. The FBI is crooked. Let's just be clear. They're crooked. And that's okay. I mean, it's not okay in the long run, but I'm saying it's okay to say it. It would be like, somebody is running a race and you go, it looked like he had a bit of a limp. And he goes, yeah, I had a rock in my shoe. Oh, well, don't say that. Yeah, he had a limp or he pulled a muscle or whatever. He lost because of this reason. It's okay. The FBI has lost credibility. Don't sweat it. They can get it back. They just have to become good people. People recover from these things all the time. But the left, no, you can't. How dare you talk down this honorable institution, this venerable institution that's been around for decades? It's because they did some things wrong. That's that simple. They're not perfect. I don't look at them and go, oh my gosh, the FBI, it's impossible to recover. Government can recover. All of these things are fixable, but here's what you got to do. You got to admit it. You got to say, I'm wrong. I screwed up. It's very difficult for the left to do that. They can't admit that. Here's what a Twitter person said. Philip, he says, lefties, you aren't mad at the media for lying about Trump Russia for a year. You're mad at Trump for being innocent. You wanted our leader to be in cahoots with Russia. Think about that. If that's not blind, baseless, media-induced hatred of POTUS, what is it? That is exactly what it is. Philip Schuler at 5 Rights nailed it. That's all this is. This is the left so want to vindicate themselves that they have to berate you. They have to belittle you. I would have been saying to Chris Cuomo, let me tell you something, Chris. You are the biggest idiot if you think you're going to get the American people to believe that the FBI did nothing wrong here. They broke procedure in every way. Where are the Hillary Clinton notes? Tell me where the FBI performed an investigation and you have no notes. Also, shouldn't we be looking at all of the FBI's text, given what we've learned about Peter Strzok and Lisa Page? Where are all of their text? Shouldn't their text be open records? Oh, by the way, we've learned they do things to make sure that their text they don't have to follow the procedures to document everything that they put on text. How do you feel about that, Chris? I mean, this is bizarre. How do you feel about an FBI director, James Comey, who we know to be crooked, who we know lied about every single thing that he said about Hillary Clinton. He's part of the conspiracy to help this woman get off across the board. We know a dossier was created, not by Donald Trump, not by the Russians. Peter Steele, who shipped that dossier to, with the help of Fusion GPS, he creates this dossier that the Democrats paid for. We know that. They then publish it in Yahoo or somewhere, and then the FBI says, oh, well, hey, it's been published, it must be real. We'll use that to get FISA warrants that they then get against Donald Trump, and you have not a single person indicted that's directly related to Trump, and the ones that you have indicted that are indirectly related to him are about to be freed. Let's answer those questions. Before you ask me anything, let's answer those questions. Tucker Carlson tweeted this. He says, let's say you were an authoritarian and you wanted to weaken the American democracy. How would you do it? Number one, you'd ban free speech. Number two, you'd disarm the country. Number three, you'd undermine families and churches. And number four, empower unelected bureaucrats. Trump isn't doing that, but the ruling class is. The other thing I would tell you that you would do to undermine the country and to weaken it is you would have a corrupt government. A government so corrupt that it would take one of its stellar citizens, a person who's living the American dream and giving that opportunity to thousands, tens of thousands of others. And you say, we're going to demonize him. We're going to make him a bad guy. I'd add that to the list, Tucker, if I were you, but that's just me and you. Adam Baldwin tweeted this. This has to do with the shooting. He says, so which is it? Are children assets to be protected, or are they just adults in tiny people's bodies? Are they sexual beings, or are they innocents? Are they rational actors, or are they still emotionally developing? Because with the left, they pick and choose. See, I see kids as needing to be protected. Protected not only physically, but protected mentally. When people say to me all the time, Kevin, you got a problem with gay people and teaching kids about gay? I go, I don't have a problem with teaching people with people discovering gayness. None at all. And I'm just using that as an example. You could use guns. I don't have a problem with kids discovering guns when it's done in the right context. I don't have a problem with kids coming of age sexually when it's done in the right context. But what I have a problem with is when you try to force it on them knowing that they're not developmentally ready. We know a lot about development. And I'll tell you this, 7-year-olds shouldn't be dealing with sexuality. If they have curiosities and questions, it will evolve and it will come out. And I'm not going to tell you I know the age, because I'm sure it's different with each child. But you as a parent should be the one that says, I'm going to have a question, a Q&A around sexuality, or I'm going to have a Q&A around being a mate, like in understanding your sexuality. I'm going to have a Q&A around guns. You should be the one, not the school. Oh, guns are bad. Says who? In whose mentality? Rural kids are raised where guns are good. We've used guns most of our lives. We learned gun culture. I learned gun culture at the age of 8 years old. That's when my grandfather took me outside. I'd never shot a gun in my life. We were down at the lodge, and he says that we see there's a raccoon trapped in a tree, and he says, okay, take a shot. So my brother aimed, and pew, I mean, this thing's like 15, 20 feet away up in a tree, looking dead at us. Pew, my brother misses. My grandfather says, Kevin, your turn. I took the rifle. Pew, I hit the thing right between the eyes. And he took it out of the trap, sold the hide, made $25, $30 or whatever, and said, man, you can shoot. And my brother was just kind of like, well, I guess I can't. And we walked away. That was my first ever shooting of a weapon. And then from that moment on, I had a firearm with me practically within a year. I carried a firearm everywhere. But you may not do that in the city for obvious reasons. But it doesn't mean you shouldn't learn about gun culture at some point. But the left make it evil. It is not evil. In as much as in the city, you may have to learn about sexuality at the age of 10 versus in the country, you may learn at the age of 13. I'm not mad either way. It's okay. But we the left wants you to just one size fits all, and it's their way or the highway, and I think it's ridiculous. Anyway, there is no defending the FBI. These people were warned about this kid, and they did what they did. They did nothing. They responded by doing nothing. Then fast forward to not fast forward, but go back to where we were talking about Donald Trump and his issues, and the FBI was crooked there. Why would you defend that? Just say what it is so we can heal from it. Anyway, glad you guys are with me. We have a ton that I wanted to cover, but I guess we'll have to get to it tomorrow.
He won't stop until he's the top-rated radio talk show host in America.
What kind of weird competitive freak are you?
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.